How is work progressing with regards to infrastructure, new stadium, new training ground?
Well, I mentioned just now, I think we're almost there on the training ground. You know, someone's objecting on a footpath in the training ground. People don't understand how hard it is planning permission in this country, and rightly so. Everyone gets a say. But it is frustrating from our point of view, what we think is a great facility. But Ealing's been great, and I don't think it's going to take much longer. So that was a big debate with Jimmy. He wants to spend some money on the training ground in Harlington, which remains a plan B if everything goes wrong and we get, we know what we have to do in Harlington to make it a more decent ground and a more permanent training ground. But I really believe we're not far away from getting the training ground. So let's see.
It's been frustrating in terms
Can I
of...
just say on the training ground, everyone talks about the training ground. It's like you guys with your cameras now. What makes our communication team one of the best is the people. It's not whether you have, I've never heard of that camera, by the way, or lamps that come in a box, or it's you with your passion and all the three of you, right? So what we've also spent a lot of time on is getting the right people. Chris Ramsey is the best. He's the best. And it was a massive coup to get him to stay. Perry Suckling has done a great job, and people don't see that, but they only see this. They don't see behind the scenes what's going on there. And more and more players are coming to QPR now in the academy. I'm getting emails from schools saying, "Oh, so great, QPR's back looking at players again." Someone wrote to me and said, for 14 years no one from QPR has ever come to our boys club. So that's great as well, and you don't see that. Everyone just thinks about the buildings. It's really important that we get the right people, but I think we'll have both.
With regards to the training ground, I think one of the frustrations from a supporter's point of view is the timescale. It's been heard about for a long time and they still haven't seen any buildings, but from the club's point of view, you have to go through all the loopholes,
there's two things that slow it down,
to go through.
Truth be known, one is there was the old let's spend whatever we spend, and the initial plans were £40 million for this training ground, and when now we know a lot more, and we've seen Southamptons and we've seen Brightons and we've seen Stokes, we thought, well, we don't need a £40 million training ground. Does that really going to bring 20 more Raheem Sterlings because of all of those? No. So we rechanged the plans to a £15 million training ground, which I think is more than adequate. And so that slowed it down, and now we're going through that process again.
And the stadium?
The stadium, I want to highlight a point to the people out there who say, what the hell's going on? Tottenham Hotspur announced they're going to build a new stadium in 2000. It's 2016 now, and they haven't. Okay, I'm not sure how long Arsenal took to build the Emirates, but we're in a pretty difficult part of West London to get this thing done. We've spent a lot of money, close to £10 million already on it, but I remain ever confident that we'll get to that chosen land. And in fact, someone said to me, I don't see why we need a stadium. One of the fans emailed me yesterday. It's critical. That's one piece of infrastructure we need, because we just don't get enough revenue from this ground. And build a new stadium, more people will come, but more importantly, corporate hospitality, which is a function of the game. It keeps ticket prices down, and we're in a fantastic part of West London to have good corporate hospitality. So I think it's important we get the stadium. I'm not going to give you a timeline as to when we get it, but is it dead? No, absolutely not. It's very much alive. We have great meetings with the council leaders, great meetings with the GLA, and I'm, as optimistic as I ever am. But these things take time because, as I've said before, if you go back in my old interviews, building an airline has been easier than building a stadium in West London.
You mentioned season tickets a moment ago. The renewal window is currently scheduled to close at the end of March for next season. What can you tell us on that?
Fans come first for me. It's their lives, a lot of them. They've been supporting. Driving up to Bolton and Sheffield Wednesday, that takes a lot. I wouldn't worry about the ticket prices. You'll be very much involved in the decision process, and your comments, and Lee's a sensible guy and he's meeting you, so On pricing, I would have no worries. And on the reason for the March deadline was we would like to try and get people into the habit, because that money is going to be very important for us in terms of the transfer window if we don't go up for buying transfers and all, come the close of the season. But we see where the fans are coming from in terms of 2 season tickets, and so we'll look at that window period and try and make it early. And there's not a 30% increase. That one I can guarantee you. It'll be quite sensible, and we'll get the feedback of the fans.
Okay. Are you still as passionate and as committed as you were when you first joined the club?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing you guys. I don't need to. I'm taking the abuse, and I'm still here.
Have you ever had a wobble during this 5 years?
No. There are times where you're like depressed. But as I said earlier on in the interview, I was as much a kid winning at Ipswich as I was listening to QPR winning at Everton when I was listening to the radio. I love it. I really wish I could spend more time here, and that is my ultimate dream when I retire. I'd love to go and watch under 18 games and under 14 games and go and travel to every game. I love to be in this office. I enjoy seeing you guys and nicking all your chocolates, and I get a buzz. I enjoy it. So no, the passion hasn't changed, not at all actually, and a little bit grown a bit, having seen what Chris and Les and Jimmy are doing and the great work Lee's doing. So I feel the club's in good hands. I know that you don't feel it as a fan, and maybe they feel everyone's in good hands except me, but I feel it's heading in the right direction.